one is very metabolically active. Um, One of the most metabolically active tissues in your body, which means the presence of muscle helps to burn more energy, more calories in your body, which helps to prevent you from gaining too much fat. Good morning. So you need to build muscle, period. Male, female, young, older, especially as you get older. Um, Period. You need to be working on building muscle. And some people say that the muscle building exercises are more important than the cardio. Because ever since I was a kid, I remember like the type of exercise that was really more so kind of like encouraged was you got to go do your cardio, go run, walk, whatever. Now, why do I say you have to build muscle? You need to think about building muscle because well, let me put it this way. So when I was a kid, I always kind of saw I wanted to build muscle because I used to read the various muscle magazines, Muscle and Fitness and Muscular Strength and all those magazines, and see the Ronnie Coleman's and the Gunther Schlurkamp. I don't know how you say that guy's name, and Kevin Larone, all those guys in there with massive amounts of muscle. So I used to just want to build muscle for aesthetic reasons because it looked cool and it just feel cool to have all that kind of beef, if you will. Um, you know, and of course, I'm not really talking about in this little recording building muscle on that level, but the reason why it's important for you, especially as you get older, to build muscle is because as you get older, when you don't use your muscle, then what happens is it tends to go away. It's called sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass with age, and it kind of really more so starts at the age of about 30, and then it kind of picks up. I can't remember. It picks up a certain percentage every decade, approximately. And the reason why sarcopenia is so important to pay attention to and to combat with muscle building is because lean body mass, like muscle, one is very metabolically active. Um, One of the most metabolically active tissues in your body, which means the presence of muscle helps to burn more energy, more calories in your body, which helps to prevent you from gaining too much fat. But then the other reason is because just generally the presence of muscle mass helps you to maintain so many different things important for aging well. So much so that, a lot of times when people lose their strength, you start seeing like people falling and kind of like losing kind of like their sense of balance and their overall autonomy. And just even like a lot of the biomarkers and things in the body start to change because of the decreasing muscle mass. Okay. But the thing is, like, we're just not used to doing anything. Like, a lot of times we associate age with not doing as much. Well, I shouldn't do that. I shouldn't do that activity anymore because I'm getting older. But if anything, you really need to maintain your activity and even increase it. You want to increase your strength training, doing things deliberately to build muscle so that you can retain muscle and therefore retain like healthy biomarkers associated with sufficient muscle mass, retain your autonomy as a human being. Because, I mean, as a kid, seeing people who were older and whatnot, I automatically assumed that to become older means that you lose a lot of your function, that you kind of become bent over, like loss of muscle mass kind of affecting people's posture, where you kind of develop, I think it's called, I can't remember what it's called when you kind of hunch over like that, but that's like a loss of muscle mass that kind of causes your back to curve and causes you to shuffle and all these different type of things that don't have to happen if you are very deliberate about building muscle. Okay. So again, it's an age old kind of concern, especially with ladies, or with ladies in particular, about getting bulky. But you don't have to worry about that. I'm not I'm not bulky, and I've been doing strength training, ever since I was a teenager, you know, and guys are because of our different hormonal profiles with more testosterone and whatnot, we more easily bulk up. Now it varies depending on your genetics and whatnot. But that said, ladies, don't be concerned about bulking up. You won't. If anything, if you will strength train, then you will notice that you will sculpt. You will sculpt your body, because a lot of times, like the muscle tone and whatnot that you lose from teenage years on to and through adulthood, when you lose that, you lose even the shaping that kind of comes with it. Okay, so you want to build muscle. Now, as far as like how often to engage in strength training, as a bare minimum, you need to train your whole body. Like, I'll say, as a very, very bare minimum, once a week, your whole body. That means you address your chest, your back muscles, your biceps and triceps, your core, which includes like your lower back and abdomen, your thighs, and glutes and calves. Your whole body you want to train. Okay. And specifically to build muscle, what's most important is putting your body under tension. It's called time under tension, and exhausting the muscle. So like there's like training that's explicitly just strength, where you kind of go for like heavier lifts with less reps, like up to maybe 5 or so reps. Then there's training that builds muscle, which you will build some strength with it too, but it's focused on building muscle. So that's going to be, maybe going into about 8 repetitions at least. And I've heard some people say up to 30 repetitions, but the main goal of training for hypertrophy or muscle building is you want to exhaust the muscle. So you're going to feel some, kind of burning in your muscles as you train them, but you kind of want that. And then you need to let your body recover from that. Okay. Um, I'll say really you want to do at least twice a week, hitting every body part at least twice a week to kind of do that. And then of course do your cardio, do your cardio and whatnot. But you have to build muscle. You have to build muscle. If you want to age well, if you want to be a person who even into your 70s, 80s, 90s, you're moving around, you're upright, you have good muscle tone, you're you have autonomy and whatnot, you want to work on building your muscle. You have to do that. And don't just do all cardio, so to speak. Even though cardio that we typically do, like running and walking and stuff, will help you to retain some of your leg strength and whatnot, you still need to be very, very explicit about building muscle. Don't be afraid of it. Just do it. Okay. And remember, you can lift weights. You can do calisthenics like what I do, which is just like body weight exercises, pull-ups. You can do modifications if you're not able to do pull-ups now, but pull-ups, push-ups, dips, squats, and whatnot. Oh, last thing I'll say is, because I don't want this to be too long, the main things that I think that everybody should start with to build muscle is start working on some squats, because that's such a fundamental movement. even going to the bathroom or picking something up or something like that, getting off the floor. Squats. You wanna work on squats. You wanna work on push-ups or some sort of pushing movements where you can kind of push your body weight like this. You wanna work on pulling. Okay. You want to build those muscles that pull. There's another move called the hinge, which is like essentially like the moving of your hips like forward. And there's an exercise called the glute bridge where you lay on the ground and you lift up your hips and whatnot. But hinging also helps when it comes to picking things up off of the ground, because when you bend down like in a deadlift form, you have to hinge those hips to kind of like help to pull stuff up with like your lower back and your hips and whatnot. So, but mainly start with squats, pushing, and pulling. And if you start with those, you can kind of build from there. Okay. Build muscle. You need to build muscle. Y'all have a good morning. If you like this content, you might also be interested in one of my books. Learn how you can take steps literally today to successfully manage, control, and overcome common issues such as high blood pressure, diabetes, and belly fat. It's all about putting power back in your hands to improve your own health. Get your book copy today by the links in the description or by visiting seanmcclennan.com/books. Also, don't forget, hit the like button and subscribe, and join my email list at seanmcclennan.com/subscribe.